Welcome to the Women in Wealth podcast, brought to you by Regina McCann-Hess, a certified financial planner with over 2 decades of experience. This show is for professional women who want guidance in working towards their retirement vision in learning, building, planning, striving for your dreams, and putting the work in now so that you can pursue your financial independence. Hello, I'm Regina McCann-Hess, president of Forge Wealth Management, and welcome to our Women in Wealth series. Today, I have a new friend with me, and Amy, can you tell us who you are, what you do, and what you love about what you do?
Wow. Who I am, what I do, and what I love about I do. Well, like every woman, I'm many things: wife, mother, friend, community member. So I'm many things. But what I do, that's a little bit easier to answer. I am an EOS implementer. And what I do is I work with entrepreneurs and their leadership teams to help them run better businesses. And how I got to what I love about what I do is I spent a lot of time. I'm 60, I'm a serial entrepreneur. So I've been through many, many journeys. I'm on my 7th career. And
Wow.
before I did this, I spent a lot of time thinking about what's my true purpose? Why am I here? And what do I want to do? Because I, was lucky enough to be able to do many different things. And I picked this because I realized that my mission in life is to help other people shine. And I'm a religious Jew, and I'm always motivated by the Hanukkah candles. And the
Oh,
Hanukkah candles, it's cool. The Hanukkah candles, the flame represents your soul. And you would notice that when you take a Hanukkah candle and you light somebody else's candle, when you help somebody else shine, you don't diminish your own light, you just bring more light into the world. And I
beautiful.
realized, thank you, thank you. I realized that was really my true purpose. And that is why I love what I do, because I get to help people be better all day long.
Oh, it's amazing.
Thank you. It's
Yeah.
really a pleasure and a privilege.
Oh my gosh. So, all right. Well, we're going to have to tell people a little bit about what EOS is. I mean, a little bit more. And then, it sounds like you've done a lot of different things. So, what led you to be an EOS implementer?
So I started my career as a banker, then a lawyer, hated both of those things, fell into a family business, which I joined. We were a chain of 8 independent party stores.
Oh, wow.
And over 15 years, we built it into Party City's largest franchise.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was sold 10 years ago, way before what's going on now, thank God.
Yeah.
But in that time, I, so we sold that, and then I ran a nonprofit media company, which I always say when I joined, there was no money in the bank and no distribution, but other than that, it was a great company. We also had explosive growth there. When I left 7 years later, we were distributing films in 26 countries, had 1,000 organizational partners. It was going amazing. And in those positions, I held like 19 jobs. I was general counsel, head merchant. I was in charge of store merchandising, buying. One day I was unloading a truck, and one of the kids working for me said, "Amy, you'd be a great stock guy." Well, I thought that was a tremendous compliment at the time.
Yeah.
I now no longer think that, but at the time I thought it was great to be doing 19 things.
Mm.
And what I discovered in both of those jobs is running a business is a lot of fun until it's not. You might have experienced that yourself.
Facts.
And what happened is my businesses started to control me. I didn't control my business.
Hmm.
And I just thought that was the price of success. And then I ran a business on EOS, and that whole narrative flipped. I was running my business. I was running like a very organized, well-run machine. And I decided it was such a shock to me that I really wanted to share it with the world. I thought that was how I could make the most impact for the rest of my career. And that's how I got there.
Wow. Wow. And I love that it's had so much of an impact for you that you're now doing that as your career and that you have so much passion for it.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's really fun. And the other thing that I do, which I also love, is I love human behavior.
Mhm.
Um, and so I'm a little bit of a behavioral science junkie. I'm
Mm.
certified in DISC and predictive index in several of those assessments because I have found that it's super important, A, when you're hiring to get the right people in the right seats, you really have to understand how people's behaviors. We say you want to hire on head, heart, and briefcase. Briefcase is their life experience. Heart, if you're an EOS customer or if you have core values, does this person share your core values or are they a match? And do they care about your mission? And head is what are their natural behaviors? If you have a job that needs repetitive tasks, are you hiring somebody who likes repetitive tasks? Because you don't want to hire me. I like a lot of variety. So understanding who they are. And I would think it very often goes into what you do. How are people thinking? What's their tolerance for risk?
Hmm.
How are they thinking about their financial management? I think it's just how people behave is so interesting to me.
Oh, for sure, for sure. That's
Yeah.
like what we call it in my family is we call it people watching.
Well, there's actual data and science now. And so why not really understand the data and the science? And
Hmm.
the tools that I use have like 70 years of understanding people's behaviors.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's really powerful stuff.
Oh, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Uh, that's incredible. You've experienced so much throughout your career, and you're still experiencing and providing experience for other people. I can imagine, like, I know, look, I've read the book Traction, and I know enough to be dangerous about EOS, but also enough to be scared because I am one of those people who I'm like, okay, I think my business is, taking control. But like, what you do, like I know a lot of people who have read it and not been able to implement it, but when they work with somebody like you, it's it's almost like a completely different experience on the other side of it.
Well, I have come to the conclusion that success in life is about sustained discipline. And I had wanted EOS is simple but not easy. I
Mhm.
wanted for many years to get stronger and be healthier. And finally, yeah, I couldn't do it. And finally, my daughter's wedding came along, so I hired a coach. And all of a sudden, I was eating better. I was lifting 3 days a week. It was the coach that made me do it. And that's what we are for EOS. But then the wedding came and went, and despite 6 months of all of this great working out and eating healthy, I stopped doing it.
uh,
And I realized then it's really the trick in life is sustained discipline. You have to constantly maintain that discipline, even when that big goal goes away. And what's so great about EOS is the coach happens to help you do it right and hold you accountable. And after that experience this summer with my daughter's wedding, I really understand why people need us. The other problem is when people try to do it themselves, they should be focusing on their business. I've spent 5 years becoming extremely good at EOS, and they often do things wrong. They don't really understand it because there's a lot of, even though it's simple, it's a little bit complex. So
yeah.
then when they come to us, it's harder. I'd rather start with somebody fresh than reprogram bad habits that were
Mm.
created. But
Well, I
it's
gotta
still
imagine you're reprogramming bad habits
if
either
they
way.
self yes, but if they self implement, it's like
Oh, yeah.
reteaching. It's harder to reteach somebody something.
I
But
got
if
you.
you yeah, but if you can't
Uh,
afford an implementer, it's still great. It's an amazing system. And the reason my part of my goal now in my while I've been blessed with a lot of success, I've made a million mistakes along the way. And I feel like had I had a system like EOS, I could have avoided every one of those
mm,
mistakes.
that is amazing. That is
Yeah.
amazing.
So I try to
Uh,
help people avoid all my big mistakes.
Yeah, I know a couple companies who use the EOS system and they swear by it. It's just like, oh, it's part of my EOS, just boom. It's just matter of fact.
Yeah, it becomes habit. And
Yeah.
that's what you want. We're not
Hmm.
with companies forever. We teach them the disciplines and the skills and the tools, and then they use it forever.
Right, right.
It
Oh,
just
that's
makes you a
amazing.
better leader and manager.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So if people wanted to learn more about you and what you're doing in that field, where would they go to look for more information?
I guess LinkedIn, Amy Holtz, Holtz, and also amy.holtz at
All
eosworldwide.com.
right. All right. Cool, cool, cool.
Yeah.
So how about some challenges that you have experienced as a professional woman? It's a loaded question. I
Uh,
know. I'm sorry. It is loaded. I will
so
admit that.
I would say my biggest challenges have been around balance. I think that finding time for my children, for my career, and forget about my husband, myself, or my friends.
Hmm.
And whenever I was working, I felt guilty I wasn't with my kids. Whenever I was with my kids, I felt guilty that I wasn't working. I never felt like inner peace.
Hmm.
I can say now that my kids are graduated and successful, thank God, um, they did learn how to work from me. There's a lot of kids in this generation who are very entitled. My kids are all super hard workers.
Yeah.
And I believe that came from seeing a mother who worked.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. I had to apologize to somebody well, I was on a college tour with my daughter, which was a last minute tour, but I have a 9 o'clock standing call with a group of professionals. So I was literally on the Boston T doing the doing the Zoom call with my phone, and they're like, "Where are you?" And I was like, "Well, I'm kind of on the T and I'm on a college tour. We're going to the college. And, I think my daughter's going to be very upset with me because I'm doing this while I'm supposed to be with her." And the one lady pointed out to me, she's like, or she could be pretty impressed with your work ethic because you're, multitasking both things. And I was like, oh, yeah, I like that look.
There was plenty, believe me, there was plenty of anger and
Yeah.
issues and,
Yeah.
turning the knife in my heart. And I think she might still be mad at me, but I do think she has a tremendous sense of responsibility because of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I definitely see that, like, our kids see us working hard, and it somewhere lost there's a generation out there who lost that work ethic. I don't know, it's the trophy thing. They talk about that, but I do like to see that my kids, I'm hoping my kids have the work ethic that I was brought up on, like sounds like you were as well, and that we pass that on to, some more family members as we go.
Yeah, I also think life is not just about being easy.
Mm-mm.
It's really by achieving, you feel tremendous value. And
Mm-hmm.
without it, you don't feel as good about yourself.
Right. No,
So
that's true. Very
I'm a
true.
big
Very true.
believer in people working.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it's also it gives you a good feeling at the end of the day, like, wow, I really had an impact today. I did something that was important. It had some meaning. So it pays back in more than one way for sure.
100%, a hundred
Yeah.
percent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So, if we were to get in the time machine and go forward a bunch of years, what would you say your vision of retirement is?
I am never retiring. Uh,
I know, you're not the type, but it doesn't
yeah,
mean
I'm
you have to, just
definitely
because you at retirement doesn't mean you have to retire. It's just what's your vision of it.
hopefully not retiring.
Yeah.
Hopefully being able to do something similar to what I'm doing now, probably not. First of all, I don't take a million clients. I take a limited number of clients.
Okay.
So it would be taking less clients and maybe doing it more, you know, I guess it would be taking less clients. I never want to stop working.
Mm-hmm.
My goal really is to help till the day I die, to be giving to people to help them be better, help them shine,
That's
light
beautiful.
their candle.
I love it. Yeah, I love that analogy. I love that analogy. I might borrow it.
Anytime. It's not mine. It's not mine.
When you are working with people, what is the parameters of, what type of client do you feel like you add the most value to and that you like to work with?
It's really a matter of people who are willing to be open, honest, and vulnerable. You have to
Mm,
want to grow. You have to be willing to face the tough issues.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't work for people who are just dictators and want command and control. That is a style of management, and it works for plenty of people. EOS is we create an open, honest environment. We really discuss issues. We bring issues to the table. You have to face them. There's nowhere to hide in EOS.
Yeah.
And what I really believe is, and this took me about 30 years to learn, you're always going to have issues. Every company always has issues. The difference between great teams and average teams, great teams face their issues and solve them and move on to new ones. Average teams will let the same issue ruminate for years and years and years. And I always like to say there's a spectrum of approach to issues. On one end of the spectrum is what I think is the common approach, which is prayer. Please, God, let this issue go away. And we always say issues are like mushrooms. If you ignore them, they multiply and grow.
Oh, yeah.
When I had a bad store manager and I moved them to another store, they didn't suddenly become good. They destroyed the culture in two stores.
Oh,
So EOS, we take an open, honest approach to issues. You've got an issue, we're putting it on the issues list, we're solving it. But the great news is we have a system for how to solve it. So but you have to really be willing to face your issues because there's nowhere to hide.
mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. Amazing.
Yeah, that's only one little teeny piece of it.
I can imagine. There's a lot of, I'm sure you also have to be, the client has to be willing to put a lot of effort and honesty, into it for it to be successful.
100%. I'm as good as my leadership teams. I teach them all the same things. The ones who are willing to have the tough conversations are the ones who are going to succeed more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's very, very cool. And you also do public speaking. Like I know I that's how I met you. You were speaking at an event, but I got to mention, do you speak at other events outside of the event we met at?
Yes. Yeah, I've been doing more and more of that. It's
Okay.
kind of fun.
Yeah. No, you were great. So I was like, oh,
Thank you.
very
Oh,
impressed.
thanks.
Very impressed. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that.
Well, I am so grateful that you joined me today. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for the education. Very, very impressed with what you're doing.
And thank you for what you do for women, because I believe most women do not pay attention to their financial situation.
Yeah.
And it is such a mistake. I mean, it is such a mistake because, you just need to.
Yeah. And in the next 5 years, we're going to be in control of a lot of money. Trillions and trillions of dollars. So
I know.
I'm on, that's one of my missions, is to get more and more women, having conversations, and even if they're not taking control or the reins back, having those conversations and learning about the finances and being an active part in the conversation. So
it is beyond important. It is beyond important.
Yeah. And you don't want them finding out when they are forced into a situation where they have to learn. So,
and you don't want them they don't want to run out of money. I mean, it really requires planning. I mean, we spend so much time. What do we look like? How much do we weigh? People should spend some of that time thinking about our financial place.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm so glad you joined me. And I'm glad everybody else was here to listen today. Obviously, there's some really great things out there for us to learn. And Amy is a coach for EOS, or actually an implementer. So sorry. But doing great things. And we hope that you continue to do great things. And maybe an action item today is maybe just to be honest with yourself about where maybe you can improve, or, in your own job or your own company, taking an honest evaluation of what you see and what you need to fix. So, Mike, is that a good action item?
I think what's the elephant in the room? What's the one thing you're not dealing with, which is just what you just said. What's the one thing, if you solved it, would make a huge difference in your business?
Oh, love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. And I'm Regina McCann-Hess, president of Forge Wealth Management. My website is forgewealth.com. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Forge Wealth, and LinkedIn, Regina McCann-Hess. Go make it a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Women in Wealth podcast. You can watch the founder's video I created for you to learn more about me and how I can guide you towards your financial independence at www.forgewealth.com. The information in this podcast is educational and general in nature and does not take into consideration the listener's personal circumstances. Therefore, it is not intended to be a substitute for specific, individualized financial, legal, or tax advice. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a final decision. Securities are offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, and SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and Forge Wealth Management are separate entities from the LPL Financial. Our show guests and their companies are not affiliated with nor endorsed by LPL Financial, Private Advisor Group, or Forge Wealth Management.